Hello guys, so today's story is about a young man and his friends being a little too curious and exploring places he probably shouldn't go. Stick around to find out what happens to him.
Born and raised in North Dakota, back when I was in high school, a group of us would research murders that occurred out in the county. We would then go out to find the scenes and film the exploration at night. This was about 2 years before Blair Witch. It was something to do while we got wasted on crap beer. Eventually, we ran out of places to go. North Dakota has few people, and that means there's few murders. And I got really good at finding abandoned rural farmsteads by driving dirt roads and looking for the signs. Rut roads, deliberate tree groves, and old mailbox posts were common markers. We were out looking when we spotted a tree grove that was out of place. It was a sure sign that we discovered an old, but not too old house. It had padlocks on the outside doors that were knocked off pretty easily. We dispatched them and entered the kitchen. There were 6 of us, all with flashlights, and we lit up because of how normal it looked. It was a set for a meal, and not a bowl was out of place. The only thing was, we'd been in dozens of houses and place and settings were a first, especially unbroken ones. As we investigated the area, we found a fridge had disgusting remnants of a full stock, and the cupboards were fully of canned foods and dry foods. This was also the first. One guy found mail on the counter from early June of 1978, and another found a creepy TV guide in the living room full of UFOs as the cover. All the family photos were hanging up, mom, dad, bro, and sis in their 1970s glory. Furniture was dusty but in good condition. Closets were full. Everything was totally normal, which was super abnormal. As we dug around the house, we all started to realize that this house has not been moved out of it. It had been straight up abandoned. Imagine locking the door to your house and never coming back. That was the state this house was in. Complete unplanned departure. We went upstairs and split into 3 pairs to check out the 3 rooms. Ours was the closest, and obviously it was the younger boy's room. I can't describe what it looked like too well, because almost right away from the hall, we heard the most terrifying scream I've ever had the misfortune of hearing. We went running into the hallway and we were all yelling questions at each other. At the same time, after a few really long seconds, the 2 screamers caught their breath and said, "You have to go in and see." Walking down the hall and through the doorway, I prayed I wouldn't act like a sissy in front of my friends. I shouldn't have been concerned because the others were as scared as I was. The room itself opened the left of the door frame and centered on the right side of the room. It was a queen-side bed, propped up on pillows, with the blanket drawn to the waist, arms on top of the blanket, and worst of all, head turned slightly so it was looking at you straight in the eyes when you entered the room. It was a life-size porcelain doll. Snow white skin, jet black hair, cold dead eyes. The dead eyes lit up with our flashlights like she was waiting for us. If she hadn't been turned, I could excuse it, but it was turned. Ready for when we walked in. Ready for 20 years. Hasty exits were made down the stairs into the car. It was during the ride we started to get more creeped out when we realized the house had been abandoned and someone had time to set up that doll.
Hello, it's me again. Hopefully you enjoyed the first story. If you stick around, I'll tell you a short closing out story. A story about the time I saw a strange dog-like being. My friends and I were playing some games where we were running in and out of their house in the middle of the afternoon. There was some form of hiding and chasing happening, and I recall I was trying to find them. I went around the backyard. There was a small grassy yard that gave way to the woods and creek. Across the ravine of the creek, I saw it and froze. It looked like a very dog-like, but had no ears and was a bright, full white color. I couldn't make out a mouth, and though it wasn't staring at me initially, As I looked at the thing, it slowly turned its head and I met its gaze. I remember it was a large black almond-shaped eyes and had no other facial features. It was just a white quadriplegical creature with a silhouette of a dog or a seal or something similar. It felt like a full minute I was staring at it before I screamed and ran around the front. Pretty quickly I found my friends and told them. We went back to look for whatever it was and it was just gone. Now I figure it was my young mind having a hard time interpreting some regular animals. I saw perhaps even a neighborhood dog I never saw before, but I know in that moment how vivid and that strange creature seemed. That image just burned into my brain. A lot of the neighborhood kids made fun of me. My best friend at the time, who I still kept in contact with, told me he believes me, and that meant the world to me at the time.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I've been trying to grow recently as a pretty small YouTuber and anything helps, down to just viewing of the video or even to go as far to subscribe. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be putting more stuff out like this. See you later guys.